Worldview Radio with Brannon Howse.
And welcome. Glad you're with us on this July 8th, 2025. I'm going to be joined by Annie Cyrus because, well, I know you guys maybe get tired of hearing about it, but it's the truth, and we need you to be vigilant. It looks as though the deep state, and different people define that differently, but it looks as though the deep state is preparing the way for there to be a major terrorist attack in the United States of America. And just the way they exploited 9/11, gave us the Patriot Act and all that surveils us, the next terrorist attack will, I believe, make 9/11 look like a small event, which it was not, but it'll look like that compared to what's coming, I believe. And then all the money that was in the BBB, Big Beautiful Bill, for biometrics and surveillance and will go into effect. And we'll see the accomplishment of the World Economic Forum and people agreeing to things they would otherwise never agree to under the guise of safety. But I'm about to detail to you stories that are documented where our government is lowering the walls and setting the stage to allow our enemies to carry out a massive terrorist attack in America. This is not conjecture. This is not hearsay. This is not rumor. This is not conspiracy. You would not do these things that we're about to detail factually, even from mainstream media that are being done, unless you want something to happen. You must ask, why would you want something like this to happen? The change comes from the conflict. I quote it so many times. James McGregor Burns, a globalist, wrote a book in 1984, The Power to Lead. He said the founding fathers have been too smart for us, too shrewd for us. Frail linkages and bridges will not get the job done. We can only get the people to go where we want them to go under a stupendous national crisis. And we don't want to see harm come to any American. But particularly, we don't want to see harm come to those in this audience. We're very protective of our audience. We also don't want to see our children and our grandchildren shipped off to another war like after 9/11. Joining me now is Annie Cyrus. Buckle up and get ready to look at facts that are going to make you shake your head and say, why on earth would you do that? Annie, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Back on, Brannon.
Well, let's go to this first one, Annie. Here we go. DHS will slash 75% of staff in its Office of Intelligence and Analysis, cutting 1,000 employees to 275 amid a heightened threat environment. Lawmakers and law enforcement warn the move could cripple vital intel sharing with local agencies. CBS News. Okay, here's another one. CBS News, I believe, also. No, NBC, Channel 5. NBC, Channel 5. I don't know if that's out of LA or where it is. Let me see if I go down past all the advertisements. Oh, well, we won't take the time. But it's an NBC affiliate, Channel 5. Oh, it's St. Louis. St. Louis, there it is. Show me state. Here it is. TSA will allow passengers to keep their shoes on during security screening at some airports, reports say. The TSA has not officially announced the change, but this is going to be going on at certain airports, including Baltimore, Washington International, Fort Lauderdale International, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky International, Portland International, Philadelphia International, and Piedmont Triad International, North Carolina. They no longer have to remove footwear during standard security checks. And, some people may say, yeah, that was always kind of silly anyway. No. You guys remember, wasn't there a shoe bomber And I read that the reason that didn't happen is because there was moisture. I don't know, he was nervous and his feet were sweating. I guess we can thank the Lord that happened, right? But intelligence specialists are reporting that this is actually necessary if you don't want these people sneaking explosives on planes. There's also experts that I'm reading the last 48 hours that are warning that certain types of explosives can get through TSA, particularly when they're wearing certain types of clothes. And that there are former intelligence people that are no longer with any, the agency they may have been with in the past, that are continuing to do their research, whether they're former CIA, former NSA, former FBI. They're continuing to do their work and research like they did. And they're warning about the fact we're about to be hit, particularly by Al-Qaeda. I can give more. Another one, Annie, to respond to. Trump quietly removed U.S. sanctions on 2 notorious Syrian warlords accused of abduction, torture, and rape, disproportionately targeting Kurds. No announcement, no transparency, just gone. So what do you make of this, and what else are you seeing, Annie, that shows you that the deep state, whatever you want to call them, are lowering the walls for something to happen?
I would say they're definitely, when I originally saw the DHS announcement part, I think my response was, this is absurd. Why would we do that? Logically, if you think about it, the only reason to do such a move is if you're directly going to hire the risk for your citizens. I mean, I know there are people who think DHS should be completely removed, but I disagree. And I'm sure if our good friend Phil Haney was here right now, he would be absolutely very upset with this news. But the pattern of all the love we're giving Syrian Al-Qaeda chapter doesn't shock me if anybody's concerned with Al-Qaeda making a move. It doesn't. And funny enough, again, I think I had this discussion with you offer last night, Brannon, when I said one of the things Americans keep miscalculating on is difference of culture and commitment. Please forgive me as I say this, but it's factual. In America, somebody tries something, it fails, they move on to try something different. In Islam, when you fail, you go and perfect the material and the plan and the execution to come back and do it again. And no matter how long it takes, you do it. They don't go find a different way or give it up. There's no giving up. Al-Qaeda has been pretty quiet for a while, yes. But that doesn't mean they were quiet because they gave up or, decided not to be Al-Qaeda anymore. Is that most likely they were working on all the plans. They were working on diplomacy. This is how I'm actually working on a piece right now of how we got where we are with Syria. How we went from what we looked at Syria as and the group that's running it to where we're lifting sanctions, we're removing them from terrorist lists, we're shaking hands with their leaders. This is absolutely terrifying, Brannon. And again, I know some people might be tired of hearing it, but again, you go back, you look, for 1400 years, Islamic Jihad has produced the highest number of kills. 1400 years. So I'm sorry, you have to keep hearing it because they're not giving up. They're not wrapping up. Their last day hasn't arrived. There are still breathing non-Muslims out there. And we have to warn you. Now, one thing that I question is, why are they doing it so obvious, Brannon? Is this where they want our attention because something else is about to happen that we shouldn't be paying attention to? Because that could be the other side of the coin.
What do you mean by that? Flesh that out a little bit.
What I mean is, there are way too many public and published information about the sanctions and the terrorist list and Al-Qaeda name dropping and warnings coming up to where, me and you would zoom in. And by me and you, I mean me and you type of people. We would zoom in concentrating on when this attack is going to happen. And while we're looking at this attack and all of this open, transparent information, what is the real plan? What is going to really happen? My best guess, there will be another shakeup in Middle East. That's where my head is at, but that could be because I'm biased. Could be because I've always said that when it's needed, they're going to make a huge, major chaos going on in Middle East. And with recent events, I'm not too far from thinking. But it could be something else. I'm not saying there's no attack coming. I think it is. And I don't think it's going to be within earlier than 30 to 40 days from today. I don't think it's next week. But I also think they're giving us...
Stop right there. You think it will be 30 to 40 days from now?
Earliest. It's not going to happen until 30, 40 days from today.
Why?
Well, a few reasons. Number one, I go back to their Sharia-based Muharram. One of the 4 sacred months is still going on. They have between 17 to 19 days of it left. And no mufti, no supreme leader is going to order an attack during the sacred month, because in Quran it specifically said, avoid fighting the non-believers during the 4 sacred months unless it's in self-defense. There are 4 months of the calendar.
What are they?
It's Muharram, which is the month we're in. By the way, it's never the same, Brannon, just for your audience to know. Muharram this year is started 27th of June. Next year, it might start in 12th of August. The Islamic calendar is very weird. They pick and choose what it starts. Anyhow, Muharram is one of them. I believe Safar is the second one. What is that one called? Rajal Sani, I think, is the third one. And I cannot recall the fourth one. The Muharram is the most sacred, though.
Okay, and how long does that run for? 18 days?
Well, no, it runs for, depending on when the muftis come out and say last day, which is another 8, it could be from 27 days to 31 days.
Okay.
Now, it has started on June 27th. Today is July 8th. So about 10 days of it already passed. So it could be another 17 days to 19 days to be completed, to be 27 to 30 days.
So you're saying that nothing's going to happen at least for the next 19 days?
No, it won't. And again, I said 30 to 40 days. The reason I said that is, first of all, Muharram is on the table. Unless it's retaliation, none of them are going to go for first attack. And right now, they have no reason to attack us because we're on ceasefire. The reason I expanded now from 19 possibly to 30 to 40 years, 40 days, is Islamic Republic of Iran is on very high alert right now, constantly saying Israel is coming back, Israel is coming back. So they're going to put their concentration on Middle East. When and if they know they're safe over there, then they might call for a jihad here. So that's why I'm expanding it to 30, 40 days.
But are you thinking something's coming in 2025?
Yes. I started saying that late 2024.
You
After
did.
election of Trump, I said, get ready, as they're going to attack us by next year.
You did. We have the tape. And of course, you and I on October 7th, 2023, was it 2023, October 7th, tragedy? In,
22.
What? No, in Israel. Was that 27 or 2023? Anyway, we'll figure out the date. We come back. We'll make a point about that. Don't go away.
It was 22.
Was it?
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate under-sink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity, all from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System, because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.
All right, welcome back. Worldview Radio, our website, worldviewradio.com. Getting a lot of traction and a lot of people emailing us, texting us about what's going on with them, with the IRS. So again, if you want to read our press release about how the IRS stole almost $50,000 from us because we dared to pay our payroll tax as an organization with a check versus doing it online because their system was down for 2 days. And again, I want to stress, it was not a late fee, folks. It wasn't, hey, you paid your taxes late and here's the fee. It was because we dared to overnight a check when their computer system was down for 2 days, okay? And we are talking directly with a member of Congress this afternoon about it as well, who's on a committee that oversees the IRS. That should be interesting. So the full report and press release is available at worldviewtube.com/IRS, worldviewtube.com/IRS. Now, Annie Cyrus joins me. Her website is liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.com. October 7th, 2023. I had to look it up. You know, all these dates run together, unfortunately. But October 7th, 2023, Annie and I and Aaron were on the air for 2 days, that October 7th, which was, I think, a Saturday for us, and then Sunday. And we immediately began to report that this is going to happen in America. Multiple locations within a day or so of each other, if not on the same day, multiple locations. This was, in some ways, a practice, set the standard, if you will. And I still believe that. Annie was very adamant in the fall of 2024, we have it on tape, that we were going to get hit in 2025. Now we're hearing from people like this group, the American Border Story. The U.S.-Canadian border is emerging as a growing concern. While attention focuses on the southern border, the northern border is increasingly vulnerable. Border expert Anthony Aguero investigated and found that illegal aliens are crossing undetected due to insufficient technology and staffing in these regions. We also have former CIA gal, Sarah Adams. We have something from her. I'll find it. Here it is. She says, you might want to read about October 7th plotting as the attack was a dress rehearsal for the massive one coming to the U.S. homeland. Highly likely, the attack was always going to go. Here, don't waste people's time painting some imaginary la-la land in support of terrorists. So she's basically telling her folks, don't come down here and make a bunch of comments. They're stupid. But there are groups like Sarah Adams, who's former CIA. She and others are still putting out all kinds of reports. And she, 15 hours ago, said, wait, Al-Qaeda has an operational airline plot against a dozen U.S. airliners, and our federal air marshals are at the border. She's responding to a tweet by the Air Marshal National Council, who says, Secretary Noem, stop sending air marshals to the border to check illegals for lice and escorting deportees to the bathroom. You are disarming air marshals to perform prison guard duties. It's wrong and disarming our national security. Now, how many data points have we laid out today, folks, where your own federal government, dare I say under the Trump administration, is lowering our protection and setting us up? Now, Sarah Adams, Annie, is not the only one. There are other people saying we're about to get hit by Al-Qaeda. What do you make of this? All this information? And you and I, again, warned the American people on October 7th, 2023, that this attack was coming to America. Now, Sarah Adams is saying it is, and she has said that they will do multiple people, multiple guys, hitting multiple sites in one day, and that they will fight to the death. She uses a particular word. Say it for me and tell our audience what it means.
Fadayan.
Fadayan?
Fadayan.
Fadayan.
That means sacrificial.
Sacrificial.
How she phrases it, it says these were trained as sacrificials for Allah. Fadayan of Allah. That's literally words used. Properly used, actually. They will sacrifice themselves for Allah. Again, I'll go back to the reason Al-Qaeda is getting attention. I believe on my show right here on Worldview Tube yesterday, I closed the show by saying, President Trump, I pray you understand your recent actions has absolutely put American citizens' lives in danger. I did say that myself. And that was, I didn't even know about the DHS. I didn't know about the marshals, none of that, air marshals. I just knew about the handshake, lifting sanctions on Syria, promising Saudi Arabia not to touch Syria, and then removing them from terrorist list. I think it is reasonable to think this is Al-Qaeda coming because, again, U.S. government under, I also dare say, Trump administration has been given within basically since May 14th until today. On May 14th is when President Trump was in a room shaking the hands of the Syrian leader, who is the leader of Syrian Al-Qaeda. Officially, he still is, for the record, by the way. He has not stepped down. He took power after toppling Assad as the leader of Syria while keeping his position as the leader of the Syrian Al-Qaeda, just for the record. On May 14, they shook hands. On May 15, President Trump said, we will work towards lifting all sanctions against Syria. We also approved for Saudi Arabia to pay off all Syrian debt. This was between May 14, May 15th. Yesterday, on July 7th, the group was removed from the terrorist list.
And there's the headline, CBS News. U.S. ending terrorist designation for Syrian rebel group whose leader now runs Syria. And now we're hearing, are you ready for this, Annie? Did you know this? We're now hearing that this leader of Syria, the guy that's the former leader of this rebel group, this terrorist dude, jihadi dude, will be at the White House this September with Benjamin Netanyahu. And people like Sarah Adams, she just put out, if I can find it real quick, she just put out, we are seriously going to let Abu Mohammed al-Jawlani in the White House? This is the ultimate betrayal.
Yes. If it's easy access for you to get on my Substack, I released the Substack on al-Jawlani and the list and the terrorist group, all of that last night, late night, last Substack was about that. And I broke it down historically, Brannon. I broke it down from 2012 when he started the group until today. I have samples of their attacks from bombing to beheading Christians to torturing Christian women. There are samples of their actions all the way to today, including the fact that he is still the leader. And I did mention that history will not forget the picture of President Trump and this jihadist put in a nice suit with a nice haircut that came out on the 14th of May. A lot of us were not just disappointed, but yes, I felt betrayed. When I saw that picture, I felt betrayed. As an American, as a freedom fighter, as a Christian, I felt betrayed. And now, yes, he is coming. And by the way, we shouldn't be shocked anymore, Brannon, when jihadists walk into White House. Some of them have a key because they're part of the Faith Department, remember?
So they just swipe and walk on in.
Exactly. So there is no shocking point anymore for me. The reaction at this point is I constantly say that, yes, President Trump and his administration are directly putting us, Americans, at risk the way they're handling these jihadists.
And why is he doing this? This is like night and day from the way he was his first term.
Well, I can't say for sure, but one thing I can say is that I have watched people change when they became politicians. We all have. We have watched some really good, decent people with high values. I mean, here's a name for you, Kash Patel. Kash was considered one of the guys that never bent his values, and he stood strong. His entire hearing, I remember, he pulled no punches. But then the moment they told him Epstein kill himself, it's like, yes, sir, Epstein kill himself. And there was no client list, by the way.
And I hate to say it, but today, someone who asked about it. Do we have the clip, guys? Somebody who asked President Trump about it in the press room today. I have it. Someone who asked President Trump about it in the press room today got scolded by President Trump for asking. Watch and listen, please.
Your memo and release yesterday with Jeffrey Epstein, it left some
Now, again, the question is going to Pam Bondi. Here we go.
lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the staff?
Yeah, sure. If
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1
Sure.
second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration. But
Well, I don't know if he felt that was not the appropriate time, but I think that would have been the answer. Well, this is not the appropriate time because we're dealing with this. But to act like that's an appropriate question. I mean, why is that an appropriate question?
Do you think he's right? I mean, we're talking about this guy. I built my entire second round of campaign on this guy's name. Why do we need to talk about him anymore? I already won. There's no need.
You're being sarcastic now, aren't you, Annie?
No.
No?
A lot of President Trump's second round of campaign was about Epstein file. On every speech he talked about it. The moment he gets in, he's going to clean up FBI and he's going to force them to release all the information. The Americans deserve to know what happened to Epstein, and they deserve to know all the names on his client list. That was his promise.
So why is he upset that the reporter just asked this of Pam Bondi in the cabinet room?
Follow with the next sentence. What does he say? It's bad time. With all the great things we're doing, why would you talk about a failure? We're trying to look like the great guys here. We're the best administration in the history ever, the greatest. We just demolished the Fardo bunkers
Nuclear
with
facility.
our B-2s, and there is no proof of it, but we did. I'm sorry, that's where this you watch any question and answer, any press release, any dinner, any gathering with President Trump since Saturday of dropping those B-2s in Fardo, he will twist the entire narrative to just talk about that. Nobody's allowed to talk about anything else.
Well,
Nobody's allowed
it's not
to
going
say,
well. It's not going well on social media for MAGA. Some people are saying MAGA is over. It's done.
Well, honestly, it's not going well for anybody. Nobody's buying it anymore. I saw a post on Facebook, somebody saying, even though I have voted for this guy 3 times, at this point, I don't know if he's dodging questions or he's starting to be diagnosed with Biden illness, not being able to think.
Here is a new one from Sarah Adams, the former CIA gal, 3 hours ago. Not only is at TSA refusing to improve security screening for Al-Qaeda's new invisible bomb. What? An invisible bomb? It's designed to be worn by trained suicide bombers on U.S. flights. They're also abandoning efforts to detect shoe bombs altogether. If you own airline stock, now might be the time to cash out, because the next attack won't come with a warning. Well, we'll get into that right after this. Don't go away. Hello, I'm Brannon Howse. I want to thank you for all your support at www.foundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, our website, worldviewradio.com. Hey, don't forget about our fall conference. Hey, we were going to do a worldview rally in Des Moines, Iowa, a free biblical worldview rally in Des Moines, Iowa. We already had it booked as far as the venue on Saturday night. I think that was November 1st, wasn't it, Logan? And then Sunday night, the 2nd of November, we were going to announce that we're going to be in Northern Illinois. Guess what? Not happening now. Not happening because we got attacked by the IRS. They stole $50,000 from us, 49,000 something. And we don't have the budget to go do free rallies. We got to put that money back to get ready for more payroll taxes, unless, of course, the IRS wants to come around and steal more while we're being conservative and trying to save the money for the payroll tax we owe in the future. So unfortunately, we have to start cutting things because we've learned we better keep a very good size savings account for when the IRS decides to come by, steal money from you like the mafia, and if you don't pay up, we'll break your knees. So we have to actually now increase our savings account for the unexpected theft, robbery, would you call it extortion? I think you would. Pay taxes you don't owe that we've evaded twice in a letter to you, or we're just going to seize it out of your bank account. That's what they were telling us. So thanks to the Internal Revenue Service, as a Christian organization, we are now forced to cancel 2 biblical worldview weekend rallies we're going to do for free, to go out on the road and minister to people, encourage them, equip them, and edify them. Because we've got to build up our organization's savings account, get ready to pay future payroll taxes, but also we've decided we need to have extra in there because we can't be caught flat-footed when they decide to knock on the door again and say, we're stealing more money from you. So there you go. But by the way, we all just celebrated the 4th of July under the guise we have liberty and freedom, which we do have some, but we don't have very much. We don't have very much. And we're not even getting what we're paying for. What is the first goal of government, biblically? Reward the righteous, punish the wicked, make a stable and just society. No, instead we're bringing the wicked into the White House, the former rebel leader of Syria. We're putting guys that, according to many reports, spent 20 years in prison tied to jihadis on faith council boards. We've got a doctor who did not want to give children the bioweapon from Utah, and the parents didn't want the children to get the bioweapon. So due to the instructions of the parents, he gave them shots of saline so the children thought they were being vaccinated, so the children would not be telling a known lie. So the children thought they were vaxxed, and the parents let them think they were, so the children would not be conflicted. But the parents did not want their children to get that, and they wanted them to be able to go on to school with their life. That doctor is being prosecuted under the Biden administration, and it continues under this administration. RFK Jr., and as much as I appreciated him and interviewed him and appreciate so much of what he's doing, now wants us all to wear wearables that can track us. Really? So we got a problem. A lot of people are very disappointed, but I tried warning you guys the very first day on the air after Trump was president-elect. There are going to be good days and bad days. Things he does we love, things he does we're not going to like, and we're going to say it. And I hope you have enough intestinal fortitude and conviction and morality in your mind to handle the truth. Because we're not part of a cult. So this is where we're at. It's reality. But we don't have a lot of freedoms left anymore in America. Sadly, a lot of Americans think we're back. So great. Make America great again. Well, I wish we could, but it's not happening right now. Until you get rid of the IRS as we know it, or our communist progressive income tax system, and at least at the very minimum, go to a sales consumption tax. So all the drug dealers, all the gangbangers, all the prostitutes, all the illegal under the table money that's being traded, they don't pay taxes. Until that's done, we're not living in a country that's treating the citizens equally. And we're giving tax breaks to waiters, but not the garbage man. Tax breaks to the waiter and waitress, but not to the nurse, the plumber, carpenter. Why? Now, we're hearing, again, as we went out from the break, about the fact that Sarah Adams is saying, if you got stock in any of these airlines, you might want to cash out because the next attack won't come with a warning. And there are, she says, Al-Qaeda's new invisible bombs designed to be worn by trained suicide bombers on U.S. flights. Annie, what do you know about this?
I actually, while we were on the break, I pulled up some of my notes. Just in case if somebody's questioning or is not aware, let me do my best to read this as best as I can. What Sarah is referring to goes back to a name that you have said on your shows, I have said on my shows. He was killed in 2017, but Ibrahim al-Asiri, who was Al-Qaeda's top bomb maker, like all the good bombs were made by him, was mentioned by on U.S. intelligence briefing, saying he was obsessed with creating bombs that could pass through airport security undetected. Some of the notable works of him under the category of invisible bombs are 2009, he made the underwear bomb that was carried by Omar Farouk at Northwest Flight 253. I don't know how many people heard about it, but it happened. It was built into an underwear that this guy was wearing and got right through TSA, got into the plane of Northwest Flight 253. He also created the printer cartridge bomb. And his last, before he was killed, I say this because we don't have confirmation he's killed. We just heard that they killed him. Before he was killed, he did work on surgical implants, bombs that could be surgically placed inside the jihadist body, so the bombers would literally be undetectable while blowing up with the bomb at the location. So I figured this might help your audience with what is Sarah talking about with invisible bombs. These were all done and tested before 2017. Now, how much further they have gone in last 8 years, Brannon? Well, I can only guess. But they do exist, and they have tested them.
Tell me a little bit about Sarah Adams. And I'm not saying I agree with everything she's ever written or posted or said, but
I don't either.
She seems overall like she's a source. We don't all get it right all the time. I don't. But she seems like she's doing her best. She's very concerned about our country, and I appreciate that.
I have followed Sarah for over a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I can say. I don't know about what she got wrong or who she is. I don't know her personality. What I do know is, in my area of expertise, she's extremely well-versed when it comes to Islamic jihad. She knows the methods, she knows the ideology, she knows the ways and terminologies. She has never gotten any of those wrong, ever. To be fair, she doesn't even get the spelling of English characters using Arabic words wrong either. That's how well she knows what she's talking about. When it comes to specifically Al-Qaeda, I'm going to say she probably knows more about Al-Qaeda than I do. I have learned Al-Qaeda techniques from her reporting. I have. The rest, I don't know. But in that area, I can say that I trust her reporting. Do I trust that she says that an attack is coming from Al-Qaeda? Yes. Do I think it's tomorrow? I don't know. Most likely she doesn't know either. Mm-hmm. So I take her warning serious. I do, as I said, I don't do X, but she's one of the 5 accounts that I check on X every day to see what she has to say. Mm-hmm. In that specific area, I do rely on her information.
So she thinks they're going to go to airlines this time. Why airlines? Why not buses?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, remember, they need their next major attack. They need to make September 11 look like nothing. Buses, how many buses are they going to have to target to make such a huge impact of 10 planes? And for some reason, don't ask me, I don't know the reason, but the plane hijacking has been a huge part of Islamic jihadists for a good 55 years. I mean, even in Middle East, we have had cases of Islamic jihadists hijacking planes.
Well, I'm older than you. And so I remember as a child, of course, during the 70s and 80s, all the hijackings and
that's about 50 years, 55 years, right? 2020.
I'm 56, and so I remember these as a kid, a lot of them. Yep.
I studied a lot of those cases, especially those that were going on during the whole uprising and the revolution of 79. That's a lot was going on in the Middle East. It was just not being reported. Nobody was talking about it, but a lot of it was happening. So between needing a bigger splash, easier targeting. Again, it's a lot easier. On a plane, where are people going to run, Brannon?
1-800-347-9829. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions, folks. 1-800-347-9829. 1-800-347-9829. And I'll just give you another one that's upsetting people. Agricultural Secretary Rollins on Trump's plan to slow illegal farm workers' deportation. Quote, there will be no amnesty. The mass deportations continue, but in a strategic way, end quote. Now, this has got a lot of the MAGA crowd upset too, particularly some of the border guys, former border people. Because again, they're like, why are we going to show deference to big ag or to hospitality, hotels, casinos? Because there's been a report we're going to slow things down for those industries. Again, it seems as though we're picking favorites. We're picking winners. We're picking losers. And nobody likes, well, the Bible speaks against unjust weights and measures. You come over and sit here because you're rich. No. The Bible speaks against this kind of thing, right? And most Americans, they just simply want a government that, as I said earlier, is about security and protection. And yet now we see all of these things happening that show us that there's not a heightened sense of getting ready for what appears to be a coming terrorist attack. And I'll have Dave Gobbets on tonight. Because didn't Dave, by the way, 1-800-347-9829, real quick, Annie, before we go to the calls after the break, didn't Dave Gobbets tell us in one of my interviews that he's found Al-Qaeda in some of these mosques now in America?
Yes, he did. That was early May as well.
And that looked like that was kind of a new occurrence, right?
Yes. He did sound like it was a new thing.
Yep, I'm going to get him on tonight if I can about it. All right, folks, what do you think? 1-800-347-9829. Are you concerned about what you're hearing? Putting air marshals as babysitters to check for lights and walk people to the bathroom on the border versus being on our planes? No more taking off your shoes and more. Get on board.
Nature has a rhythm, a quiet strength, a way of restoring, protecting, and renewing us. Wellness isn't just about how you feel today. It's the quiet choices you make for tomorrow. At myvitamin.com/worldview, we've made daily self-care simple. Quality vitamins, daily supplements, and targeted nutrition. myvitamin.com/worldview makes it easy. Pure ingredients thoughtfully combined, tailored for your body. Formulated by a doctor who has over 25 years of medical practice experience and is a certified functional medicine provider. Visit myvitamin.com/worldview today and take the next step towards strength, balance, and resilience. Discover the wide range of med packs made for you and your loved ones. What you nurture today becomes the strength you walk in tomorrow.
All right, 1-800-347-9829, 9829. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions. Folks, are you concerned about what you're hearing today? Are you concerned that even in the Trump administration, we're not seeing a heightened sense of security, but actually a decrease of security? Do you think something's coming? And if it happens, how do you think it will be exploited? Let me ask Annie that real quick, because phone lines are lit up. But quickly, how do you think this will be exploited if there's a major terrorist attack? After 9/11, we got the Patriot Act. What do you think will happen after this? Do you think it'll be people will be more willing to go with biometric and digital ID tracking, and will it be used to, you have to be safe and secure, and people will submit to this digital slavery?
I'm not sure if people are going to be willing to do it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be forced on people to do it. The same thing. I mean, people weren't all about Patriot Act either, but they still did it. It will be used to empower, I'll say probably Palantir, to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And then it will, by population and those behind microphones, it's going to be definitely where, unfortunately, more Jewish people are going to be persecuted in America. Losing power, losing businesses, most likely losing friends, or beat up. Or
Why? Why?
Because this is going to be, as always, they're going to twist and turn this and turn it into more anti-Semitism, blaming
So in other
more
words,
Jews. And
Israel attacked Iran. They went too hard, and now the Iranians and the Islamists are attacking us. Just like you and I have been saying for months that this was going to happen, and they'll use it to boomerang on the Jews, and it'll be more anti-Semitism, and the Christian Zionists will all be thrown in the same pot and attacked.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That's why I keep saying this. But I literally, as we were on ad break, I just released a new Substack going over the history of Nazi Germany and Islam.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's time for people to remember. Hi, before you all go saying Jews, remember the red green axis action right now. They're gonna turn it. And here's another thing about October 7th. Let's not forget another part of test run was how much this is gonna come back to create more anti-Semitism, and it did. Look, they dragged Netanyahu and Israel through international criminal courts. If you think about it, 20 years ago, we probably would never believe that Hamas would attack Israel, kill people, take hostages, and then Israel would be dragged into International Crime Court.
Yep.
Makes no sense, right?
No, it makes no
but
sense.
that test also came back with positive results.
Yep.
That, okay, we can do major attack, we can kill, rape, kidnap, take hostages, and still put the blame on Israel.
Let's go to line
It's going to
one.
be the same thing.
Cass in Wisconsin, line one. Hi, Cass.
Well, hi. My daughter had just flown into Houston and out of Houston to Mexico and back, and she said the TSA wasn't doing anything. Her luggage went right through without a check, without anything. No one x-rayed it. No one opened it up. Nothing.
Cass, thank you.
And she tried to talk to the people there, tried to talk to customs and everyone that worked there. They didn't speak English or Spanish because my daughter can speak both. But so she was just...
Well, they probably put Muslims there. They probably put Muslims to screen there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's wide open. You could be bringing anything in.
I mean, go to the Minneapolis airport. We've heard stories about this. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Thank you, Cass. Jim in Joplin, line 2. Hi, Jim. Hi, Jim.
Yeah, Brannon, great show today. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
Back to the subject of the invisible bomb that you and Annie were talking about, and it triggered me to think of seeing something very similar in a movie many years ago, The Dark Knight, a Batman film that was made several years ago. The character villain of the Joker did that to one of his lackeys in order to blow up a police station, and they planted this device inside of him and then triggered it with a cell phone. Any correlation?
I did not know that. I don't think I saw that, but I did not know that. Annie, you're shaking your head yes, so you know about that, huh?
I have seen that movie, and as he was describing it, I do remember. It wasn't on top of my head, but yes, I have seen that scene. And yes, that's pretty much how the invisible surgical implemented bomb that Al-Asiri made works. Literally, they just surgically puts it in the body of the jihadist, and then whenever he's in position, someone will use either a cell phone or any kind of device to blow him up. Yes.
Let's go to
pretty much the same concept.
Thank you, Jen.
However, he made that bomb before the movie was made.
Wow. Let's go to Greg. Greg in Minnesota, line 4. Hi, Greg.
Thanks for taking my call. I don't know, you mentioned about the explosive vest last night. I don't know if you're familiar with a movie called Act of Valor that came out in 2012. It was about some Navy SEALs going on these missions, but the last one was they had these jihadis coming across the border from Mexico into the United States with explosive vests, and the way they put it was they weren't ball bearings, but they were like plastic bearings that couldn't be detected.
Wow. Wow, a lot of predictive programming out there. Thank you, Greg. An anonymous caller, line 1, anonymous. Thanks for calling in.
Hi. Listen, I believe there is a lot of stuff that's more than into this. I believe you guys don't look at what's going in Africa. There is a big fight in Africa. And the thing is, it is so deep that people are fighting for the slavery that's happening many, many years ago. And the question is, why is it that Africa have all the minerals and they don't have nothing? It's to do with the colonized, what they did in the whole world. And this is the thing. We can't be free people. If Africa is free, then we will be free. You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff, what Donald Trump is doing, it is not only Donald Trump. The thing is to do, these people, they're all together. And for us, it seems like they fighting one another. It's nothing about they fighting each other. We, as the people, we have to look and we have to see what we can do for one another. It's
Thank
about
you.
that.
Thank you. Let me have you respond quickly. Music going. What about the terrorists coming from Africa, Annie?
Actually, that's a pretty big number too, if we want to take it into consideration. Not as big as Middle East, but that's a good number of terrorists coming from.
And
that
what about
side,
all the CCP military-age males? About 100,000. Gordon Cheng and others say. What are they going to do? How are they going to get involved?
If there's a need for bioweapon, they're going to come into picture.
Because remember, we found the Chinese biolab in California, right? And a couple of them caught in the last few weeks trying to bring bioweapons into the U.S., right? LiveUpToFreedom.com is her website, LiveUpToFreedom.com. Hope you'll stay tuned for Crosstalk with Jim Schneider coming up next at vcy.org. And we're, of course, WorldViewTube.com. Take care.
This has been
And we're back with WROS out of Jacksonville, Florida, and you here at Worldview Tube and Annie Cyrus on LiveUpToFreedom.com. Again, her Substack is liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Annie, it looks and seems like a lot of, well, let me ask you this. Does Donald Trump, is he lacking good advisors around him? Why is all this happening? Does he even know this is all happening? He didn't seem to know that President Putin's plane was being attacked by drones on the tarmac. The press had to tell him that. He didn't seem to know about other things as well that were going on that the press had to inform him about. I can't remember what the other one was. There was another one. Is he in the dark on these things we're talking about today?
Some, yes. But I don't think he's in the dark because they're keeping him in the dark. Based on his reaction to that question, I think he's cherry picking what he wants to know. It seems like he's at a point of, okay, just tell me all the good news, all the great things we're doing. Other than that, I don't want to know about it. Let me just say it. You know how last night on your show, we kind of discussed the whole, he has given up on America. He has realized he can't clean this up. I think he's washing his hands off of everything that's just too disastrous for him to want to know about. I really think that's where he's at.
Let me just stop and drill down on that. Are you saying that President Trump now realizes the deep state, the swamp is so deep, he can't turn the Titanic around, so he's really not going to mess with it, and he's going to concentrate on his legacy being the Middle East, and basically, America, it's hopeless, so I'm just going to work on the Middle East? Is that what I just heard you say?
That's exactly what I just said, yes. I mean, you phrased it way better than I did, but yes, that's what I'm trying to say. He has washed his hand off of America.
Liz Churchill just said, the world is sick and tired of paying taxes to elite pedophiles that never face justice. We're not letting this go. The backlash against President Trump online today after that comment is really not going well.
And I think that's another reason, right? You know, in America, he's witnessing his MAGA collapsing. He's witnessing a lot of independents like myself writing pieces, pointing out things that are very hard to deny or debate. Watching conservative Christians such as yourself saying, listen, I'll be here long after Trump's over, so I'm not going to ruin my reputation or my faith for it. He's watching all of this. And I don't mean watching like sitting there in the living room. You know what I mean? He's seeing and hearing all of this. He's not the king he thought he's going to be on second term, but he goes to Middle East and they put the red carpet down and fancy it all up. Because we all know Trump loves to be the center of attention and be praised. He has not received much praises in the last 2 weeks of his life.
Trump threatens federal takeover of New York City if communist Zoran Memdani wins mayoral race. Okay.
He can't.
How? Yeah, exactly. How are you going to do that? Okay, number one. And why are we still worried that he's a communist? I mean, which I am, but we got communists all over the country.
Trump will never say that the Islamist Marxist Mamdani.
Exactly.
He'll never say
That's
that.
where I was going, and you knew it. Why is it always the communists? Why not the red-green axis, Zoran Mandandi? Why not?
Because Trump's new motto is Islam is a religion of peace. Bush said it. Trump is acting it.
And the reason why is he wants that peace deal in the Middle East, right?
No, he wants that peace prize.
He wants the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yes. He wants that peace prize.
By the way, what do you make of, I only got 2 minutes. What do you make of Tucker Carlson? I mean, what a buffoon that guy's turned out to be. What do you make of him in his interview with the president of Iran?
An absolute embarrassment. A very good choice for his audience to realize who he is. And I don't mean, by the way, I don't believe he's getting paid by Qatar or he is this and that. No, he just is not as smart as a lot of people thought he is. He's smart in certain areas of expertise, but he just proved to his own audience that, as Prince Pahlavi posted after watching that interview, said, thank you, Tucker, for giving an opportunity to an Islamic leader to push the propaganda of how peaceful Islamic regime is. Like for 46 years, we were all asleep and we're just having these nightmares. So I'll agree with what Prince Pahlavi said. There's a special thanks for Tucker for giving another propaganda machine to Iran's regime to lie, while Tucker nod and smile and agree.
And then watch Pete Hegseth's face as President Trump yesterday said, we're sending more weapons to Ukraine.
Are you planning to send more weapons to Ukraine?
We're going to send some more weapons. We have to. They have to.
Look at John Ratcliffe's face.
They're getting hit.
Both of them, in his body language. Oh, there is so much. I mean, can you imagine the books that are going to be written by some of these guys when it's all over? Wow. LiveUpToFreedom.com. LiveUpToFreedom.com. LiveUpToFreedom.substack.com. Thank you, Annie. And folks, where are you going to get a program like this? We're not cult followers. We just speak the truth and report the truth. We need your support now more than ever. Worldview.
Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing